Michael and Ethan will answer a few questions sort of to set the stage, and then we'll open it up. All right? Okay, so we'll start with Michael, talking about growth. So Michael, you had a lot of experience with consumer companies and initial launches and pay acquisition when you're launching. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Sure, I think it connects nicely with your previous talk about A/B testing and how it's important, even if you're a super early stage company. But obviously, you won't have the data to be able to do a rigorous A/B test. So that was one of the things that we focused on at Tandem, was devising a system to actually get some learnings when you really can't run people deep into landing pages some of the time. So our approach, we actually found that Facebook was a really good tool for it, because it combines a lot of creative, and you can create a lot of different variants even at the ad level. So you can kind of create a whole bunch of variants at the ad level and do your own multivariate test that gives you an idea of what might work when you launch, test multiple different ways of framing the product, multiple different audiences, and get your own sort of like rough A/B test at the very top of the funnel, and then start bringing that through as you continue testing. So sort of we have a checklist for this is what's working so far. You kind of never let anything drop out of the test too much unless it's performing really terribly, because you don't have the level of confidence that you would with an A/B test. So continuing all the way through, and then as long as you keep checking boxes and it's working well enough, we kind of devised a system for building out a larger and larger landing page until you could get enough growth that you can start doing full A/B tests.
Great, thanks. So Ethan, as I said, he has a lot of experience in growth and in search engine optimization, organic and the paid search. So can you tell us a little bit, how you integrate them and how you measure, how to solve measurement problems in terms of attribution and other.
Sure, I would say in general, there are certain parts of the growth funnel that are under-optimized and under-resourced, and SEO is definitely one of them. So what I try to do is sketch out the composition of each channel, compare that with the market, and see where the gaps are. Frequently there are gaps in search engine optimization, and paid is one of the resources. So I start there and then say whether or not SEO is a good thing to work on. The second thing is that SEO has changed significantly in the last 10 years. 10 years ago, the algorithm was simple, and you would find holes in the algorithm and try to exploit them, like sticking keywords on the page. But over and over, Google's gotten better, and trying to outsmart Google at search is not a long-term, robust growth strategy. So the things that have changed are around content and engagement. And people talk about good content, good engagement, but defining that and being rigorous is important. You talked about some of that, but the thing that I work on a lot now is being data-driven about content engagement. So engagement with rigorous split testing, and then content by being data-driven about that and having a framework. What is good content? Having specific metrics like shareability, which is part of search engine optimization, and optimizing your content and testing and iterating basically. The second thing is that a lot of these parts of growth all complement each other, and they're typically worked on by individuals in a silo, and they don't complement each other. The more that they complement each other, the better. The more SEO you get, the more shares you get. The more shares you get, the more SEO you can get. The more virality you get, the more people you can get. So if you think about all of these parts of the growth funnel as integrating with each other, having them complement each other and drive these other metrics, they will all work in tandem, and you will have exponential growth.
Okay, great. So we'll come back to this. I think I love to follow up on this. So the one thing I just wanted to add in terms of like marketplaces, that I think a classic question when you think about growing is like which side of the marketplace to grow, and like how to do it. So I mean, first is of course the chicken and egg problem. Once you start, there's kind of this common wisdom that many marketplaces start with supply. More about that. But then even when you start something up and running, it's different if you think your market is supply constrained or demand constrained. Right? Because the efforts, the growth efforts, you may want to target them differently depending on like which side you want to do. So based maybe on those like kind of three questions slash thoughts, we want to open it for further questions, further comments, further discussion.
Very specific question on your comment about testing content for SEO. How much time do you give yourself to measure the impact of changing content and then
Did everyone hear the question?
Yeah, so the question was around testing and the impact for content. It depends. Certain changes are very quick and certain changes are not. I would say in general with content or search engine optimization, it's pretty quick, it's within days. But I would start with a metric of shareability or some sort of engagement metric and test that. And then I would factor that into content that's launched on the site. And typically, assuming everything's set up properly, it should be within days that you'll see impact. The other thing is that with content and with many of these other things, there's a lot of data in the wild where you don't have to test it from scratch yourself. You can look at what are the patterns in other sites, what correlates with shareability. So if you're working with Yelp, what type of content works well for people on other sites. And you can scrape all their articles and scrape all their content, look for relationships between shares and content on those other platforms, and then use that to inform what you do. So rather than testing from scratch and doing purely intuition-based ideas, leverage the data from other people, and then use that to inform what you test. And then what you test is a lot more likely to work.
I guess to add on to that too, it's also important to be able to understand why things are working or not working. I see it a lot where companies are like when they're building their sites, for example, they'll look at like a whole bunch of different other company sites and then just kind of draw from that and go, okay, I'm going to do it similar to this one and this one, but they don't know what motivated those designs and what was the reason for that. So yeah, it's especially good if you're going to talk to those companies.
Yes, so to that point, leveraging the learnings from other companies is useful so that your first version works, and frequently you can just ask the people who work at those companies what their metrics are. You'd be surprised at how many people will give you the answers, even if you're somewhat competitive. People like sharing data, so if you find something that you believe works, ask the person who launched it, and ask them what works.
Expand on, like let's just say he's launching a brand new dog walking service, and no other dog walking service existed. Brand new market. What would your advice be to that entrepreneur? Like content and all that stuff that you're talking about, like really push it about.
Yes, I would find sites that are similar to dog walking, that have characteristics that you think are similar. For example, a babysitting site, or a care site, or something where there's a person offering you some sort of service like that, and look at what are the patterns working. I could also look at, if I'm looking at content, even if the product doesn't exist for dog walking, there is information online about dog walking. There's many articles, there's keywords, you can get a lot of data from a different product, but stuff in the dog walking space to find.
And what's your goal? Where do you put that content?
It depends. So let's say that you wanted to do an article marketing strategy. What you could do is find what are people searching for. When of the million articles online about dog walking, which ones tend to do well, and then you take those learnings and then you inform which articles you create, what the headline is, which keywords you use. That's how it works.
I need to know more a little bit more about SEO practices. Like what gets on list?
That would be a very is there anything? Yeah, is there a framework? Yeah, sure. So your question was in general what's important for SEO. And at a high level, the types of things that I look at are authority, engagement, content, and infrastructure. And the things that I focus, so infrastructure is having your technical setup be good, that will not cause you to grow. The types of things that will help you grow is engagement, content, and authority. And depending on your site and your category, you should focus on something like masterclass. You don't have 1 million pages, so we need to pick the right the right pages, like the right how-to stuff about cooking or about photography, give it the right words, but a lot of the effort is going to be around authority. So if Gordon Ramsay has a class, everything online that Gordon Ramsay has, his website, his Facebook page, that should all be funneling authority into that page, doing one particular thing. But at a high level, that's how I think about it here.
Any other thoughts, questions?
And the benefit of that, which is actually kind of interesting, is that it allows you to transact across price bands.
No, I would say, yes. Sorry, the question was, I think your question was for search engine optimization, is it just Google or is it other things? So in the US, about a third of search is Bing and Yahoo, and it's the same algorithm. And then 2/3 is Google. Outside of the US, it's more predominantly Google. And I would say that Bing in general is years behind Google, and it's slower. But I have not seen significant differences in terms of what works well. The main difference is that Google will launch new things that Bing hasn't launched yet. So if Google launches something new, like something around voice search or some sort of content thing, content change, Bing will not have launched that, and Bing will launch it in 2 years. But I don't have a lot of focus on doing stuff specifically for Bing. I would also say that that's the sort of thing that you would want to do if you're very late stage, where you can actually resource lots of stuff on smaller channels. If you're earlier mid stage, you should just optimize for Google and hope that Bing will probably.
How do you think about investing in your organic search versus paid search? And how do you do that? How do you measure
The attribution for
your investors?
Yeah. So similar to what I mentioned at the beginning, if you're in a particular category, I would look at the range of comps. Like if you're a dog walker site, what are the 10 other dog walking sites? What's the composition of their traffic? And maybe around that, what are babysitter sites? What's the composition of their traffic? Is it predominantly email? Is it predominantly search? And then where are we? So what is our baseline and where could we be? And if other dog walker sites are 2/3 SEO, and we're 1/3, then we could probably get to 2/3. And I would prioritize what we work on based on where those biggest gaps.
How do you know what the competitors' traffic looks like?
You can get that in a similar way for website traffic. But there's tools to get that information, and there's market research, so that's where I would get it from. Or again, you can ask the person who works at that company what percentage.
So you said you work with MasterClass.
Yep.
Different strategies for acquiring subscription business versus paid for class business?
Yeah, so the stuff that we saw was around framing and anchoring on the $90 class, framing it as an upgrade. So are you purchasing the all access pass, or are you buying a better version of this other thing? What are the other options? How does that $180 compare with $90 compare with something else? Framing it as, are you getting all access, or are you getting access to 30 different classes? So a lot of it is just how you frame the concept in the user's mind to communicate that pass is going to be used.
And have you seen any early results which one is working better?
Subscription.
This question's for you, and it has to do with the chicken and egg question. It's more just like we're trying to decide, should we be focusing on our supplier demand side? Like, what are the key questions that you feel need to be answered or decided before you say, this is the one we're going to run an hour with your like, we'll see swings through dips and valleys.
So a few of the things I think are critical. Maybe this is not exhaustive, but one is, which side is like less fragmented. Meaning like it's easier to go over suppliers and like less. That's one. The second one is like, what are the expectations? So if I suppose I bring like a demand or like a sitter, like babysitting website, and there's like no supply, probably I will never come back again. Whether maybe if I'm a babysitter and I just like sign up and like my name is there, but I'm also maybe I'm multi-homing and I do other things. Maybe it takes a little while to like pick up. Maybe it's fine. So those two, like when I talk to companies, those two are like typical reasons to start first in the supply side. Those apply, and the other I'm thinking about like, can you provide any value without the network effect? So, and that's sometimes easier with like the supply side. Like if there's like some B2B solution that you can provide, so you can attract maybe suppliers. Even if you wouldn't have a lot of demand on the side. So I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, well, similar, we're building a battle royale game, so we have even though it's not a marketplace, we're sort of solving a similar problem where it's like we have these 100-player session games, and if people show up to play and they need a session to be starting all the time to even find a game, if they don't find a game, they'll leave. So how do we get to have 100 people showing up at the right time so that they don't have a lot of time to play? And one of the ways that we're thinking about just an alternative way to approach it is, what if we set certain times, don't even do anything fully launched, but let like slow groups of people coming in at particular times at the beginning, and then stage from there. So grow before even launching, and then keep setting times for all those people before we've launched. Like play at 6, play at 6, play at 6 each day, and then once the community is large enough, then open the floodgates. So it's sort of just
So in capital markets, right, we tend to think about, regardless of whether it's the buy side or the sell side, we tend to think about it in terms of incentivizing liquidity versus disincentivizing taking the liquidity, right? Is there any thought about doing things like that? So we'll pay rebates to firms to actually put liquidity on the stock market, right? But we'll charge them to take liquidity. Right? And again, you kind of mentioned like, well, you want to start with the supply side. Maybe you don't want to start with the supply side, depending on what the marketplace is. But you're really interested in getting liquidity either on the buy or the sell side. Right? So has there been any thought of that?
How to incentivize?
Yeah, incentivize the side, the liquidity that you're actually interested in attracting to your marketplace.
I mean, the one thing I've seen a lot is rebates also, and it's typically done everything about per BNB, like first you may get a rebate in the first stage, and I think in my view this kind of rebates should kind of also be somewhat rationalized in the sense that, going back to the previous point, in some markets you need more supply and others you need more demand. Kind of not symmetrical, right? So kind of these efforts, I think, should be targeted accordingly. But rebates, I think, similar to what you mentioned, that's pretty common.
There's a distinction between rebates and discount.
So you mean a fee discount?
I think a lot of people use discounting. When I think of rebates, I think of like subsidized Uber rides or other things where you're getting something below the clearing price, and discounts is a call to action saying, hey, I've got a good, like, you're activate right now because you get 50% discount today for Black Card.
Yeah. Versus like you get like $5 off.
Well, I'm saying with rebating, sometimes you don't even know that you're getting rebated. You're getting subsidized.
Well, I guess I would think of rebates as being more effective when you know about it. That's I think that would be the point of having it. You want to incentivize the acquisition, I mean that would be the point of it.
Sometimes, I mean, Uber and Lyft clearly in certain markets are not making it explicit. They find that like having people enter at a lower price works, and then if you want to engage them or
Yeah, that's
then,
right.
then you're
Yeah,
offering
yeah.
discounts to increase retention and usage.
Yeah, but Uber controls pricing, right? In many of these markets, you don't control pricing, right? So it's a big difference.
Those rebates don't need to be just financial. Like they don't have to be based on financial rights. If it was Uber, they might say you're going to class a car. If they wanted to rebate you to rent it, they didn't want to because they have they have targeting deals on how to use private service. And so I think that's what we tend to think about in the capital markets. Marketplace
Sounds like they're just talking about gamification. Something not just made, something not this like fonts for a friend, or not spread icon. Right, it's about the gamification. You feel like you're actually seeing something. That's one of these cost measures time it's better to have them so looking at gamification user acquisition outside of
Yeah, I heard some research that was interesting because so many people do that where you offer the monetary incentives to get people to engage. And I actually saw some research saying that if you do that long term, it can actually have a negative effect in the end because people are so used to getting to doing the thing because they're getting paid to do it, whereas they might have found intrinsic value in doing the thing without like that because it's not actually a job.
So with marketplaces, how, I guess this question for Ethan would be, how does local SEO play into marketplaces? I mean, for Airbnb, for example, you can't just list every Airbnb on your maps. Are there any strategies that any of you guys have seen, I guess, but listing, like using local SEO?
It depends. Airbnb is a great example because it's a special case of money to be property or to be maybe you can't convince the company to. But yeah, it depends, I would say. And certain categories work better than others. So something like contact, for example, works really well for local SEO. And part of that is because there's not a giant map with for many other services, whereas map tells them to go. So it depends, but the types of things that work well for local SEO are lists and items. Lists where it says top 10 X in San Francisco, and then items where it's a particular plumber or a particular hotel. And the types of things that work well on those pages are a lot of local elements like zip codes and addresses and things like that. The other thing is building on these non-SEO platforms. So Google Maps, Yelp, you could create a virtual profile if you're a plumber. Like if you're a plumbing website, you could create a virtual profile on Yelp, potentially rank within Yelp, and potentially rank on Google for a Yelp page. So building on other platforms is another thing you can look at outside of SEO.
All right. Thank you very much.